Hi, if you're watching this prep video, that means you've signed up for the Artful Webinars 2022 Live Interactive Convention, and you've signed up for my class, Reindeer Games. Thank you so much. I know we're just going to have a great time. So, in this video, I'm going to show you some of the things that you'll need, some of the things that will be available on my website, and I'm going to walk you through the prep so you'll have everything done before class starts. So this is the project, Reindeer Games. It's an MDF arrow, and on my website, justfinedesigns.com, I will have available the MDF arrows for purchase. I will also have for purchase a vellum tracing and a printout of the lettering, so you don't have to worry about that. You can just print it, you can just cut up my copy. Also the tissue background that we'll be using, and also available will be the ultra fine point Sharpie that we use to add some of the details on our piece. So all those things will be listed on a page that's designated for the Reindeer Games Artful Webinar Convention class. Alright, one of the first things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to decoupage the red dot tissue paper, or tissue paper of your choice, onto your arrows. And this is tissue paper, so it's thin. You don't have to add a lot of decoupage to your surface. And as always, when I teach classes, I paint two. So I'll be prepping two. You'll only watch me prep one, though. So I use DecoArt decoupage medium in the matte. I don't want the glossy, shiny stuff. And I've also taken the tissue paper and I've torn it to a size that will fit my arrow. No sense wrestling with that big old sheet. The sheet that you purchase from me, you'd be able to do 3 or 4 arrows with that sheet, depending on how you lay it out on the tissue. I usually could get 3 out of it because I don't want to take a lot of time. So I'm going to take my decoupage. Now I use decoupage a lot, it seems, and so I've bought a stainless steel container with a nice rubber seal lid, and it's in there for me. Nice wide mouth for me to get into. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to figure out which way I want to lay this tissue paper. That works just great. Okay, and I'm going to apply a thin layer of decoupage on just a little bit of the arrow. And then I'm going to lay this down on here and make sure I get it to cover everything. Okay, and then I'm just going to flatten it out with my hand where the decoupage is applied. Okay, back up a little bit. Then I'm going to pull this tissue paper back, and I'm going to apply another section of decoupage, and I'm not putting it on real thick, okay? Because it doesn't need to be. This is just tissue paper. And if you get wrinkles in your paper, that's okay. That's what adds some character to your piece. If you've painted with me at all, you know I'm a big fan of adding interest and character to the backgrounds of things that I paint. And decoupaging is just one way to do that. So I'm just going to continue to do this until I have the whole arrow covered. And I'm getting some wrinkles. Oh, I got a little tear, but that's okay. No biggie, because it'll be painted over. So you see, lots of things are allowable. And you can use another decoupage medium if you want. This is just the brand that I'm most comfortable using. Okay. almost done. I think we can finish it up with this one. Okay. I am going to give this just a light coat of decoupage medium on top. And this, you really do need to keep it light. If you were to apply too much decoupage medium over it, the surface would still get a little glossy, even though this is matte. And you wouldn't be able to apply your pattern. And if that happens, all you got to do is get out a little sander. I like to use, let me reach across here, just a block sander, and I will just sand it lightly to rough it up a little bit. So if you get too much decoupage medium on it, you can fix it. It's just easier if you don't have to fix it. So just kind of adhering that. You do want to make sure you're doing this with the arrow pointed the right way. And another little tear, but I'm not worried about it. Character, character, character. All right. So there, my arrow has been decoupaged. I'm going to let this dry, and I'll be back and show you how I remove the excess. The decoupage is dry now, so I'm going to show you how I remove the excess and get a nice clean edge. And I should mention that I use these, an emery board. Any emery board will do, but if you'd like a nice one that will last a while, these are available on my website. Also, seriously, this isn't just an infomercial for my website, it's a prep video. So what I like to do is, once this is dry, I will just take this emery board and kind of run it along the edge and remove the excess tissue paper. It's really easy, and as you can see, you get a nice clean edge along there. So once you have the excess removed, it's going to be a matter of applying your pattern to the piece, and then you'll follow the directions that are given in the prep instructions and do your base coating. And it's just regular base coating. You don't really need a video for that, but what I am going to do is show you and point out the areas that you'll need to base coat before class. So let me get the directions here so I can follow them the right way and not throw you off. So let me get this out of the way. This is what your piece should look like when you come to class. And by following the directions that you were given in your packet, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to paint the reindeer's ears, this top part of their head, and any body that's shown, which would be the lower part of the middle reindeer, and then on the reindeer on the right, he has a neck and a little bit of his body showing. And that's all going to be done with sable brown. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to paint what I call their snouts. Not their nose, but their snouts and their lip with honey brown. And this is going to take 2 coats. You don't really need more than 2 coats, but 2 coats of paint, just so you can kind of cover up the red dots in the background. Don't worry if they still show through a little bit, because we do a lot of stuff on top of this, dry brushing and shading and stuff, that they won't be noticeable. And then what you want to do is you want to come back with your pattern and put on the pattern for the eyes, and you'll paint in the antlers, the eyes, the noses, and inside their mouths, and also this collar that's on the reindeer on the right with lamp black. Once you have that done, we can move to the scarves. Two of them have scarves on, and the reindeer on the left, his scarf is based in Moody Blue. And I think I did 2 coats on that also. And the reindeer in the middle, his scarf is painted with warm white. And I did do 2 coats, but you can still see the dots through. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. The baseball bat, which is what this thing is, if you couldn't tell, is painted again with 2 coats of sable brown. Now I'm going to flip to page 3 here. You have a basketball, and that's going to be painted with a couple of coats of spiced pumpkin. And again, if the dots show through, it's fine. There's dry brushing and shading and highlighting on top of this. The bottom game box is painted with a couple of coats of Irish moss, and I do want to see the dots through that. So Irish moss is a little more transparent, so even with 2 coats you can still see the dots through there. The middle game box is painted with a couple of coats of country red. Now you want to paint the top game box with a couple of coats of golden straw. Don't put the pattern on for the baseball before you paint this box. It's just easier to paint in that whole rectangle and then come back and paint the baseball on top. So you paint that with golden straw, put the pattern on for your baseball, and as long as you're putting patterns on, you might as well go ahead while you're doing that and put the detail pattern on the ears and the snout and the scarves and collar, and don't waste a step. And then you're just going to paint in the baseball and the bowl with warm white, and I did a couple of coats with that. So this is what you need to have done, and we will be using our regular painting brushes, a nice flat that you like to float with, because we do some of that, even though it's one of my least favorite things. And we're going to do a lot of dry brushing, so you would want to use a brush that you feel comfortable dry brushing with. And if you'd like to see how I dry brush, kind of get a heads up, I will demonstrate in class, but if you want to have kind of a heads up and find a brush that you think will work, there is a short video on my YouTube channel, which is just Sandy LaFleur, that just deals with dry brushing. And then you also need a good liner brush for the tinier details. And don't forget your fine line Sharpie that we will use to add some lettering here and stuff. So I'm just excited to be teaching this class for you, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. There is my email address. It is in the end credit. So I will see you in March.